How many times have you been brought to tears by one of these medical shows? Or have you ever just wondered if all the drama and cheating and excitement that happens in real life? One of these great shows is Grey's Anatomy. Now, I'm sure many of you have had emotions stirred up by this show. I mean, I can't possibly be the only person who binge watches the show and eats ice cream and bawls my eyes out, right? Now, have you ever stopped to think or wondered what makes this show so great? Is it the accurate or inaccurate portrayals of the medical life that make it so good? Well, stick around and I will tell you how Grey's Anatomy uses accurate and inaccurate portrayals of the medical life in order to keep their show entertaining. Now, let's get to the real tea. You want to know if the cheating and getting with the coworkers happens in real life the way it does in the show. In Grey's Anatomy, you see this happening throughout the seasons, and after 5 years of working in the medical field, I can pretty much testify that it unfortunately does happen. There are doctors or nurses, techs that are doing this, unfortunately. But another good portrayal that the show has is the fact that it shows the bonds that you form with your coworkers. Many of us spend more time in a hospital than we do in our own homes. Another great portrayal of this is the way it shows that we can lean on one another to get through the tough situations that our job entails, such as, witnessing the effects of a horrible accident, patients passing away, or just being surrounded by sick, vulnerable people on our day-to-day life. And of course, as with any other medical show, there are a lot of inaccuracies portrayed of the medical field. As the Insider shows by way of polling, medical health professionals voted Grey's Anatomy as being extremely inaccurate, but very entertaining. Dr. Ross Kopelman told Insider that you would never see an intern performing solo surgery or supervisors being bypassed, or even residents constantly making mistakes and not suffering any repercussions from them. Other inaccuracies mentioned by the list are, number 1, that doctors are always treating or operating. Other inaccuracies mentioned by the list is, number 1, doctors are always treating patients or in the OR, which in reality, the majority of a doctor's time is spent filling out medical paperwork. But of course, a show wouldn't be that entertaining if all they did was depict doctors filling out medical paperwork, right? Number 2, doctors are always dragging out the defibrillator whenever a patient's heart stops beating, when in reality, when running a code blue, you would first do compressions, because a defibrillator is actually used to help an irregular heartbeat go back into its normal sinus rhythm. Number 3, surgeons take patients from the ER directly to the OR. In the show, 71% of patients went straight from the emergency room to the operating room, when in reality, about 25% of real-life emergencies are transferred immediately into the OR. But of course, watching a show where patients lie around for hours in a bed wouldn't make for great, entertaining TV, right? Overall, as Vulture wrote in their article, part of what makes Grey's Anatomy so great is their cultural diversity. As Vulture wrote in their article, that the Grey's creative team has made smart decisions in how it handles issues that are culturally important and relevant to a larger conversation at any given time, in ways that nevertheless make sense for the show. The way the characters deal with these traumatic occurrences is very entertaining as well. The actors portray their characters very well and evoke emotion in every episode of Grey's Anatomy. It is the accuracies and inaccuracies that make the show so great. We can see that the show accurately displays the emotional and the drama part of working in a hospital. And though the actual medical aspect of the show is not completely accurate, we can understand that they over dramatize it in order to make it more entertaining for the audience. So, if you have not seen the show, I urge you to go and watch it. I think you will find it highly enjoyable and you will see the points that I made in this speech.